when we get closer to, yeah, I'm surprised that there's hardly any variation here. Mine's like maybe 60%. It will be much later.
There's a cluster.
Yeah. We got the budwood from Sunridge. Yeah. Because, well, we pulled some off of that. So that's all from that acre there is from my vineyard, and that was grafted last year. Mine is a mix of clone 358, clone 3, and clone 5.
And the secret LaPierre clone too.
Yeah, that's it.
There's a secret left.
That's how rumors are started. Yeah, I went to France and I took this piece of wood and I stuck it in my ass because it's my birthright. Like my Christopher Walken. I kept that uncomfortable piece of wood in my ass for 12 hours.
So these vines have a little bit heavier crop, which is kind of Mike saying more what he would like to see. And on an early ripening variety like Gamay, the heavier crop might slow that ripening process and give you a little bit more time to let things even out and mature.
I mean, you're making like kind of a light-bodied, like crushable wine. You don't need incredible amounts of
Mike, here, can you point out so people understand like what the first crop would be and what the second crop would be, so to speak?
Okay, so first crop lower on the Cornon. You see, so this is the difference too here. Even though it's related to Pinot Noir, you never see Pinot Noir clusters like that. No. So
what's different about them?
Oh, just the size. It has a shoulder here. Pinot normally doesn't have that. This would be like your normal Pinot cluster, whereas this is your normal Gamay cluster. This is all the second crop, but it tends to throw a lot of second crop up here, so higher in the canopy.
And smaller clusters.
And smaller clusters, yeah. But you'll get a lot of this with Gamay.
So will all of this up here this will be cut off?
It'll be cut off. Okay. Or you leave the other stuff longer and then pick it all at one time, and then you get good variability, a little bit of extra acid.
Natural acid?
Natural acid. Like your normal winemaking wise, they'd say, oh, that's an awful lot of fruit. But if you're only trying to get it up to 20.5 to make a 12% alcohol wine, why not leave a little extra fruit? Because if it was one cluster per shoot, then it would be all out of balance. But at least this way we can keep the sugar down.
And maybe slow the ripening process a little bit, and
exactly.
So that way, you're not picking August 30th or something.
Ultimately, I'd like to see it yield 4.5, 5 tons an acre. But Felipe has to come through and put maybe a cross arm out so we can divide the canopy up so you can spread it out a little bit.
And who is Felipe?
Oh, Felipe is the vineyard manager here, Felipe Hernandez. Don Felipe. You're 10-foot rows here, so it has enough, there's enough in the soil as far as that you think about density as how much crop load you could hang on the vine, but that's up to the farmer too. But hopefully 4.5, 5 tons an acre.
And you said this came from your vineyard? Mm-hmm. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Oh, Clos Mullet, my vineyard. This is the business side of the mullet, Gamay.
But did you take budwood and?
I got a budwood from a couple different vineyards and then grafted it all and own rooted it at my place. And then Felipe came last year and got cuttings from my vineyard to graft this over.
It has red on it.
So the red, that's a potassium deficiency. So most likely after harvest or something like that, Felipe will fertigate. He'll put some potassium through. It's water soluble potassium, but I can't remember the name of it now. There's a specific name for that. That's organic and stuff. But he'll put it through the irrigation system there, run it through.
Can you tell us what fertigation is?
Fertilizing through irrigation. So you liquefy the fertilizer and you put it through the drip line. And this way you don't have to go through and shovel it all under, and it incorporates and get into the rooting zone faster. So you put a little bit of water on and then you put the fertilizer in with it, and then it'll all go through at one time.
We haven't seen any veraison really, and we're looking at it now. It looks like there's a few vines here.
Yeah.
First of all, can you tell us what veraison is?
Veraison is the point at which the grape itself is physiologically ripe. So it's an indicator for birds to take the berry and eat it. That's basically it. So when people say physiological ripeness, that is at the point in which the seed is viable, hence physiologically ripe.
Are we behind this year? Are we normal this year?
Well, it's a little bit behind. From last year, we're about a month behind, but I think we're closer to what we were 5 or 6 years ago. we used to still be at harvest or pull things in. You were still working around Thanksgiving, and this year we'd be done by the end of October. But it looks like this year we're going to be back on schedule.
So when would you expect ripeness based on what you're seeing in the vineyard?
We're probably about 5 or 6 weeks out here. So then we're looking at probably end of September, which is probably closer to the normal for here.